The term prompt engineering is used in a lot of different contexts, right? And there are a lot of different ways to engineer a perfect prompt. You probably heard a lot about different types of techniques to craft the perfect prompt, but in this video I want to highlight two specific approaches that you want to take if you want to figure out what kind of prompt should you structure for your specific use case. And I want to make sure that you understand the difference between these two approaches so you can pick the one that suits your use case. So let's get started. Now, the first type of approach, which I like to call like the conversational approach to prompting, is something where you want to do a lot of back and forth with any LLM, right? For example, in this case, I have my Gemini open, and let's say you are using it for some kind of personal use case. Let's say you want to write an email or something. So you just give it a very basic prompt, right? Something on the lines of, let's say, write me a resignation email, right? As you can see, it's a very basic prompt, which is likely going to give me a very basic result. But what this does is that this gives you a template to start working with, and then you can have a conversation and do some back and forth and refine this prompt and refine the result as you kind of go along. So maybe you might want to say that, okay, make the tone more warm, make the email crisper. Now, just by these two specific prompts, because I'm having this conversation, you can see that I'm kind of refining the response to suit the result better, and I want to take my final result to a place where I'm happy to do it. Now, this is the first type of approach which you might have taken a lot, right? Like maybe you work with ChatGPT or something, you're writing emails, you're writing blog posts. This kind of an approach works fine for that. Now, the other type of approach is where you are actually building serious solutions for businesses. For example, I was recently working for a client and I was working on creating a chatbot on the chat-based platform for them. It's a custom use case. So I want to walk you through what goes into creating a prompt for that specific use case, because the main difference is that in this second approach, you can write the prompt once and it has to work well the first time, and it has to work well again and again and again. So you can't really mess up, and you have to in a way engineer the perfect prompt to do that. So I'll walk you through what goes into writing that sort of a prompt, right? So let's have a look at what I have here. Before even coming up with the prompt, before even writing the prompt, as you can see, there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes to even come up with that prompt. In this case, my use case is that I'm creating a custom chatbot which has reasoning ability, and I'm using this on the platform Chatbase. The idea is that it functions as sort of a learning buddy for someone who wants to learn and practice their German. This is for a working professional who does not have time for formal classes. So the chatbot kind of helps the person improve their knowledge, practice some conversational skills, correct their mistakes, so on and so forth. Now, to configure this chatbot with reasoning ability, you have to give a really good prompt and a lot of good source material so Chatbase can configure something that suits this specific need. So to do that, the first thing that I have to do is I have to kind of lay down a bit of groundwork to even think about how to go about crafting this prompt. So as you can see on this screen, the first thing that I start with is the purpose of the prompt, the why behind the prompt. Why do you even need this prompt in the first place, right? So as you can see, I'm saying that, okay, the purpose of this prompt is to create a custom chatbot with reasoning ability that serves as a learning buddy for a person learning German. This person is a complete beginner, wants to improve their German skills. They don't have the time to go to a regular class. This chatbot helps them practice their basic German by role-playing day-to-day scenarios. And there is a lot of kind of explanation in more detail as well, that the primary purpose is to instruct the custom chatbot with reasoning ability to act as a specialized German language tutor and conversation partner named Saurabh. Saurabh is not just a question answer bot, it is proactive, encouraging, intelligent mentor designed for busy working professionals. And then as you can see, I have defined a few key objectives that I want to meet with this custom chatbot, so that when I write this prompt, I have to ensure that it's meeting all of these objectives, right? The next thing that I want in this custom chatbot is I want to train it on some specific data. In this case, I've derived the training knowledge or information from a few sources. One source is this YouTube channel called Easy German. If you've not seen them, check them out, they're amazing. The second source is this book, which has a lot of German to English translations, concepts, grammar, so on and so forth. So I want my chatbot to be trained using this particular information. So this is the training data that I want the chatbot to have. And then I want it to have reasoning ability, so it can also kind of help the learner have that conversation around this training data. Next, for any chatbot, a user will type in some kind of input, right? So by this, I am kind of anticipating what are the different types of inputs that a user can write. So in this case, maybe because it's a learning buddy, so maybe the user will type in greetings and small talk. Maybe they'll kind of write questions on the lines of how do I say I need to book a meeting in German. Maybe they will want to practice a few things that okay, I want to role play a phone call. Maybe they might type in a few sentences which are incorrect, grammar, so on and so forth. Maybe they want to ask for clarification. Maybe they are not sure about a certain situation. So these are a few types of inputs that I'm expecting a user to say. Of course, there can be a lot more as well, but these are the ones that I want to kind of get started with. Then when you are configuring this chatbot, you of course have to be sure of what kind of outputs do you want the chatbot to give, right? So in this case, again, keeping in line with these type of inputs, I want the chatbot to have the ability to format the responses, maybe give a structure to separate the German English translation, and also give a tip. Maybe I want the chatbot to give gentle correction. So instead of saying that's wrong, the bot will use positive framing. So something on the lines of that's very close. A more natural way to say it would be, I want the bot to have explanations, role play scenarios, proactive teaching, constant encouragement. So as you can see, I'm kind of assigning a lot of persona and personality and also features that I want this chatbot to have. And then lastly, this is actually pretty important. These are a few examples which I want the chatbot to kind of showcase. So these are the examples that showcase the desired type of interaction that I can visualize this chatbot to have. And as you can see, I have different examples for different types of scenarios. So one scenario is where the chatbot corrects the basics of this person. So maybe the user says, "Hallo Saurabh, ich bin gut, danke, ich arbeite an ein Projekt." And the chatbot says that, "Hello, sehr gut. It's great that you are practicing. That's very close." For the word project, since it's a neuter noun, we use an einem project. Now, as you can see, in this case, I'm kind of modeling out how I want the chatbot to perform. So this kind of an example is what I'm feeding and I want my chatbot to kind of produce. So it's kind of correcting the mistake. It's also giving a tip, and then it's also continuing the conversation. So the user can actually have a very natural and organic conversation. Then the second type of example is when a user initiates a role play. And then as you can see, the chatbot kind of follows along in the role play and then corrects the mistakes and also keeps the conversation going. And then the third type of example is where the chatbot identifies a knowledge gap. Maybe user kind of says something and then the user makes a mistake. So chatbot is correcting the mistake, and then again it's doing it in a way that it's kind of encouraging the learner and saying that it's okay to have this mistake, so on and so forth, but please keep going and keep practicing. Now, through all of this, you can see that you need to first have a vision of the product that you're creating. If you're creating a custom-made chatbot with reasoning ability for a client, you need to have a very clear answer of what is the purpose, what kind of inputs do you expect, what kind of outputs do you expect, and a few examples, because this helps you craft the perfect prompt for your specific agent or chat-based chatbot in this case, right? So moving along, now what I'm going to do is, now because I have all of this context, you don't have to craft the prompt by yourself. That's why we're doing this, right? So I'm going to take all of this scenario and I'll have a bit of introduction and outro, and I'm going to feed this entire prompt to derive a prompt from Gemini. It's going to make sense in a few seconds. Just give me some time. So now what I'll do is, if you see at the beginning, I have this bit of an intro. So I'm going to paste this in my Gemini, which is my choice of AI in this case. So I'm saying that, okay, I need to create a custom chatbot with reasoning ability for a client. I am making this custom chatbot on the platform Chatbase. To get the best result, I need to engineer a very strong prompt. I need you to help me draft this strong prompt. Here is some context about what I'm looking for from the prompt. I'm writing a prompt to get a prompt. Why am I doing that? Because when you create a prompt for these kind of complex AI automation based solutions, you might miss a few things here and there. So it's always a good practice to run it through an AI of your choice so you can actually get the framing of words that works and that is research backed. And then by giving the AI all of this persona, right, like the purpose, the input, the output, the examples, it helps the AI to craft the perfect type of prompt for you. And lastly, this is actually extremely important. So make sure you kind of understand this part as well. But I'm saying to Gemini that I need the prompt in Markdown formatting with the following structures. In this case, I'm giving Gemini that, hey, I want the prompt in this particular format. And the format that I want Gemini to follow is, I want the prompt to have a role, a task, specifics, context, examples, and notes. Again, this is a format that I have not made up myself. This is a research-backed format which is used by the best of the best in the industry. You can look it up yourself. But what this does is that this kind of a structure helps the agent or the chatbot come up with something that kind of works, and it's kind of proven and bulletproof. So what this does is that it's going to give the chatbot a very specific role. It's going to give the chatbot a certain set of tasks, and as you can see, I've written add chain of thought prompting. What that means is that you want the bot to think step by step. So this prompt is going to give the chatbot that ability that, okay, do step 1 and step 2, step 3, so on and so forth. Specifics of the task, the context, the examples, and notes. And lastly, I'm adding a bit of a kind of emotional angle to this, because research has proven that this increases the quality of your output from the AI of your choice. So you can see that generate this prompt to the best of your ability. I'm counting on you. This is extremely critical for both me and my client. A very, very long process to even come up with a prompt for a custom application, but this is extremely important, and in a few seconds you'll see the difference that this makes for you to engineer a perfect prompt. So what I'm going to do next is I'll take this entire prompt and I'm going to copy paste this, and let's see the kind of result that I get this time. Okay, so I have an output for the kind of prompt that I gave Gemini, and I finally have a prompt that I can put into Chatbase as it is to create my chatbot with reasoning ability, which serves as a learning buddy for learning German. Now, as you can see, as per my request, Gemini has given me a prompt that is in Markdown format. Again, research has proven that this gives very good results, especially when you're working with these platforms such as Chatbase and so on and so forth. So as you can see, I gave Gemini this task, right? Okay, create the prompt in this particular format. So it's kind of following that format. So it says role. You are Saurabh, an AI-powered German language learning buddy. Your persona is that of a friendly, patient, highly encouraging, knowledgeable tutor. You are specifically designed to help busy working professionals who are complete beginners learn practical, real-world German. Your tone is never judgmental or robotic. It's always warm, supportive, and motivating. You are not just a question-answer bot. You are an intelligent, proactive mentor. What this role does is it gives Chatbase the ability to create a bot which acts according to this role. And then as you can see, a very detailed prompt on what the task needs to be for Chatbase in this case. So your primary task is to engage the user in German conversation, help them practice, correct their mistakes, so on and so forth. And then as you can see, there is this chain of thought or step-by-step thinking that Gemini has added in this prompt. Acknowledge and encourage, analyze user's intent, address the core intent, correct the three-part structure, engage to continue conversation, maintain awareness for knowledge gaps. And as you can see, there are examples for each and every step. Why is this important? Because when you're building real-world solutions for clients, you want to optimize the solutions for them so it can be cost effective. Now, the rule of thumb is you can get away with kind of simple and not so good prompts if you're using a very good reasoning models. But for platforms like these, it's going to cost you and your clients a lot. But again, you want to always optimize for cost, right? And you still want to ensure that your clients get the best in class quality output for whatever money they are paying. And you want to optimize for money, you want to optimize for time and quality as well. So the better engineered your prompt is, the better results you will be able to derive even from a slightly lesser, smarter AI model, right? So instead of, let's say, Claude Opus, you could even use a Claude Sonnet or a Haiku, and you could still get very good results if your prompt is structured really well. That's why I want to really stress and ensure that you understand this concept, because again, if you were typing a random email or I don't know, a love letter to your girlfriend or something, it does not matter. You could do a lot of back and forth and keep refining your responses. But if you are engineering a perfect prompt that has to work perfectly in the first go, for an agent, for an AI automation, for a workflow, you have to ensure that your prompt does the trick magically one time every time. So for that, you need this kind of a specific way of thinking, right? And then as you can see, if I scroll down, Gemini has given me all of these specifics about persona integrity, philosophy, what do you write in the sort of step column. Then there is more context, right, that your knowledge is primarily based on two sources, from this playlist and from this book. It has included the links as well. Of course, Chatbase allows you to kind of upload the training data in a separate place as well. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video on that. I'm happy to make a part 2 of this video to show you how to actually create a custom chatbot using Chatbase with reasoning ability. So you can create it for different use cases for different types of clients that you may have. And then again, as you can see, it's used the examples as well that I gave it. So example 1, example 2, example 3. And then there are these notes as well, which again, it's kind of things to keep in mind that this chatbot should have. So focus on brevity, focus on A1, always engage. Now, again, if I went to Chatbase and I said that, okay, create a learning buddy chatbot for me with reasoning ability because I want to practice German, chances are the chatbot that you would have developed would not have been this good, right? The reason you give this kind of a detailed prompt is because you want the prompt to work a certain way. And again, I'm highlighting the same thing, that the more you engineer the prompt, the better structured your prompt is, the more cost optimized solution you're going to create with the businesses that you work with, which is what's going to make the businesses pay you for your services, right? So it's extremely important for you to learn these kind of techniques so you can carve out and figure out the best way to engineer your prompts, right? So just to recap, there are two main approaches to craft the perfect prompt for your specific use case. The first approach is the one that is conversational. In that case, you write something and you get some response, and you can keep tweaking your response based on what you are creating. Maybe you're writing an email, you're writing a blog post, you're writing a book, whatever. You can keep refining the responses as you go along. The second approach, if you are creating custom AI based solutions for businesses, in that case you are creating, let's say, chatbots or voice agents or any kind of AI automation based workflows. In that case, you want the prompt to work the best the first time. In that case, you have to engineer a very good prompt the first time. And as you saw, there's a bit of prep to even create that perfect prompt. In case you were not able to understand this completely, I'm going to urge you to go back and revisit the entire workflow again, because there's a lot of steps that go into creating the perfect prompt, so you can get a very good prompt that you can input into Chatbase or any other platform which you're using for your AI automation. So I hope this was useful. If you want to know more about some of these AI based techniques, or if you want to create some custom AI based solutions for your company, feel free to check the link down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.